everyone, I hope you're doing great. Today I'm going to be talking about how to keep a music practice log, and most importantly, how to make progress today. So there are so many benefits of keeping a music practice log. I can't cover them all, but some of them are, first of all, it shows you when you haven't been practicing. So if you have a physical proof of, I practiced on June 20th or whatever, and I didn't practice these days, you're like, well, I better practice. I haven't practiced for a while. So it reminds you to practice and encourages you to practice consistently. And also it encourages you by showing you solid proof of your progress. It may not seem like you're really making progress if you don't have a solid proof. I practiced this on June or whatever, on whatever date, and I practiced for this long. Then if you can see that solid proof, you're like, oh, I'm doing good. I'm practicing consistently. I'm progressing. I'm getting better. I'm getting faster, or whatever you want to make it. I'm getting more accurate. It shows you, your music practice log shows you that you are making progress. So that's very encouraging and helps you not get stuck in a rut. And also a music practice log helps you keep progressing. If you're just practicing aimlessly with no real idea of what you're trying to accomplish, or how you want to format it, then you probably aren't going to really progress as much as you could with a practice log. Because with a practice log, what you have is a journal that shows you what you're doing and what you need to work on more, so that you can be like, okay, I think I'm pretty good at this technique or this theory concept. So I'm gonna move on now, and I'm gonna progress. I'm gonna change books. I'm gonna move on. So it helps you not get stuck in a rut to where you're just like, I just hate practicing this. I just can't get any better. Well, with a practice log, you know you're progressing because you can see it. You can physically see it in front of you. Now, when I was first going to create a practice log and keep a practice log for my guitar practice, there was quite a few questions that I thought about and kind of criticisms I had of keeping a music practice log. One of which was, how do I literally format my log, my music practice journal? How do I literally write stuff down? What do I write down? How do I do it? So, thankfully for you, I have in the description a PDF of a template that I created of basically the format I use for my music practice log. But how I came to that was, I was like, well, I have several books that I practice out of. So let's say I have Speed Mechanics for Lead Guitar and Fretboard Mastery. Those are both great books by Troy Stetton, and I have book reviews for them, and I have the link to those, I have those up in the cards. So I created abbreviations for those: Fretboard Mastery, FM, Speed Mechanics for Lead Guitar, SM, and therefore I put those in parentheses right before whatever entry I had in my journal, so I know which book I'm going to do. And then after the book, I write, exercise 50 through 51 or something like that. And then after that, this is where using a metronome is really important. You write your maximum or most comfortable speed in beats per minute. So if the fastest you could play a certain exercise cleanly and accurately was 90 beats per minute, use a little inequality sign, and that will tell you that next time maybe try to go a little faster than 90 beats per minute. Or if you feel like you can play that fast but you're not doing it accurately, or you haven't mastered a technique that is really needed to take you to the next level, not just playing fast, playing accurately, then you might write a little note next to it. So right next to your exercise entry, what speed you played it at. And sometimes this won't be effective because sometimes if you're looking at a theory concept, that doesn't really have to do with beats per minute or speed. So, but most of the time, this is applicable. Before each entry, I write each date. I write the time. So if I started practicing at 9 a.m., then I'll write 9 a.m. I'll look at the clock or look at my watch when I started, and I'll say, okay, I started at 9 a.m., and then once I'm done, I'll say, okay, I was done at 10:46, so I'll round that to 10:45, and then I'll write down 9 a.m. to 10:46 a.m., something like that. And what that tells you is it shows you how long you've practiced. So very practical. Pun right there. Practical, practice. I'm going to give a huge shout out to Bernd and his guitar channel. He is an amazing Venetian guitar virtuoso. Make sure to check out his channel. I have a link to it in the description below. And I also have a link to his video that inspired me to create a practice log. He is amazing. Make sure to subscribe to him and give that video a like. Ding! One of my concerns when I was looking into making a music practice log was, you know, does this solid practice routine make it too mundane and just monotonous and take the fun out of it? And the answer is, it might seem like that when you're first starting, but I mean, hey, who doesn't want to get better and make progress? So if you stick with your practice log, and you'll really find that it makes it more fun, because if you're just practicing aimlessly, then it's probably going to be very discouraging, whereas if you're practicing with a practice log, then you're going to have lots of fun because you're like, hey, I'm progressing, I'm awesome, yeah, you know, whatever. One of the hugest worries that I had about creating a music practice log for my guitar practice was that it would make my practice too rigid and wouldn't leave room for any change or imagination or easy changing. I was like, how do I switch out exercises and warm-ups and all this stuff? But thankfully, with the format that I have in the PDF that I use, all you have to do is just switch out, exercise 54 to exercise 55, or 90 beats per minute to 110 beats per minute, or 111 beats per minute, or 112 beats per minute, whatever. So in that format, it's very easy to change your practice schedule and practice routine. And along those lines of schedule, time is one of the most, I don't know about debated, but it's just one of the most heavy and misinterpreted ideas of practice, and guitar practice especially, I feel. We get this idea that Steve Vai, and they practice 30 hours, and that's what we need to do. So we get the idea that we need to practice 5 hours a day to be good, and that's just not the case. I'll tell you, when I was practicing guitar, starting out, I've been practicing about 2 years now. I've been playing guitar about 2 years. When I was starting out, I practiced, I'm not exaggerating, I practiced about 4 to 5 hours a day. And that was just because I used every bit of spare time and free time and fun time I had to practice guitar. Or look up YouTube videos about guitar. It was guitar. Because I just absolutely loved playing guitar, and I just loved it. And I had that fire in me, and I just had that urge to want to play for 5 hours. I didn't do it straight. Don't do it straight, because you can make yourself get tendinitis or whatever. But, but somewhere along the road, you're going to discover that even if you practice for a long time to begin with, you're just going to lose that urge eventually to just practice for 3 hours a day. Because as much as you might not like to think about it, and you will still love guitar, it becomes a little bit more like, your routine, you're practicing, and it's your job. And it doesn't mean that you don't still enjoy it, it just means that you don't have that same urge to practice for forever. And that's okay. But what my point in saying all this is, now that I don't have that crazy urge to just practice for eons, then I really had to think about, okay, how do I really want to use this time? Because people don't just have endless time, infinite time to just practice instruments. We have jobs, we have school, we have all kinds of things. We have, we have music lessons, all those kinds of things. So you have to realize that if you're really going to make progress, and you aren't going to have a million hours to, if you don't have a million hours to practice, then you really need to use that time that you have to your advantage and use it to its maximum effectiveness. One of my buddy guitarists at a local music store in my town really encouraged me to practice less time, even practice just 15 minutes. I know that seems lame, but just practice 15 minutes and really focus on what you're trying to accomplish. And you'll discover that your attention span isn't probably as long as you thought. Your mind will start wandering after about 15 minutes. And that's when you want to stop, because you don't want to just practice for no reason. You want to practice your practice routine. And that's one of the most discouraging things, is when you're just trying to practice and you keep playing songs or playing out of songbooks and you're like, oh, I keep not practicing because I just keep forgetting to, I keep getting distracted with songs and stuff. So you want to use that time to your advantage by gauging how long your attention span is, and extending your attention span as you grow that attention span. So start off with like 15 minutes. That's what my buddy guitarist kind of told me to do. Start off with 15 minutes and really focus on what you're trying to accomplish and what you're doing, whatever it's technique or theory or whatever. After those 15 minutes, then stop. And maybe next time, you can go to 20 minutes. And after a little while, you can go to 30 minutes as your attention span increases. So basically what I'm saying is it doesn't matter so much how long you practice as much as the way you use that time to its effectiveness. And I'll just tell you, you don't have to practice 2 hours a day to be a great guitarist. Well, let's just face it, no one has 2 hours to practice on a guitar. Well, I hope you'll start keeping a music practice log, and it really pertains to whatever instrument you love. And don't forget that PDF I put in the description below for the format for the music practice log that I keep. And if you have any thoughts, leave a comment in the section below, and yeah, thanks guys. Till next time, rock on, and God bless.